Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome, everybody. It is 8 a.m. Eastern here on the 13th day of August 2014. You are tuned into Attitude of Gratitude, which is a presentation of the network Perspective Power here on Blog Talk Radio. We are live every Wednesday at this time, and we invite you, thank you, and encourage you to tune in because I think it's a lot of fun. Who am I? My name is Annette Rochelle Aben, and I'm your host. I'm so grateful to have you along. I'm also very grateful to have the fabulous music of award-winning artist David Martinka. That is the gentleman you hear in the background. He ushers our show in and guides us out each and every week. You can find his music at redbellymusic.com as well as sunshadows.net. He has lots of great free downloads for you as well as superb music for you to purchase. And I know there's a new album in the works. And from what I understand, for the first time in the history of the group, David's going to sing. I'm so excited. He's got a great voice. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. And finding our voice, I think, is part of owning our attitude of gratitude. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this particular topic has a lot to do, in many ways, with the weather and what's been happening here in southeastern Michigan, which is where I happen to live. I live just outside of Detroit. And for anybody that's been paying attention to the weather news lately, you've been noticing, and for the last couple of days here in the early part of August, Detroit got hit with a lot of water. People were building arcs. It was amazing. I'm not going to share the footage with you, obviously, because it's a radio show, but you can go ahead and Google it. It was pretty frightening. To me, it had the power to really rob people of their joy, to really rob people of their positive energy, and to give people a feeling of sheer defeat, seriously. And yet I'm hearing stories from people on how they're managing, but they're not just managing. They are overcoming. Why? Because they're owning an attitude of gratitude. There was a lady who called into a local radio station this morning that said, yeah, the remediation team is on its way, and I did try to save some of the family photographs. I was drying them out in the garage, and she showed a picture of her place, which really, it looked like a swimming pool in her basement. That was hours after the water had started to recede. But the interesting thing was, when the disc jockey asked her, how are you getting, you sound really calm, you sound very, she said, you know what? I count my blessings. And I just cheered. I had my toothbrush in my mouth, and I just cheered, and I thought, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. That's owning your attitude of gratitude. That water and the damage it has done is going to cost millions and millions of dollars for people to overcome and to get on the other side of. We had an experience on New Year's Eve here in our house where we ended up with hundreds of gallons of water flooding through our basement. And, yeah, the remediation team was here for days, and their fans were here for a week, and it was a holy terror mess, and it cost a lot of money to fix. We had a pipe burst. It cost a lot of money to fix. In comparison to what these people were going through, what we went through, no comparison. It's like the difference between turning on a faucet and filling a glass of water and suddenly being hit with a tidal wave. So to own your attitude of gratitude is a powerful thing, and that's what I use the story to try and illustrate. And it's not power in so much as lording it over other people and using it against somebody to turn their will or get them to see things your way because you want to dominate or control. But it's to give you the control, a sense of balance, a sense of purpose, and a sense of well-being, because there are going to be things like this act of nature that occurred in Detroit early August 2014. And I keep repeating the date because the show goes into archives. So I want people to to understand that this is the time frame of what I'm addressing here. But there are going to be things like that active nature, and there are all the time, and they are devastating. And lives can be lost, unfortunately. Property, definitely lost and compromised. And the things that we do afterwards to remediate and get ourselves back together can be tedious, time-consuming, and for some people terrifying because they just don't know. They don't have a clue, will their life ever be normal again? So the one thing that you've got going for you is the ability to choose. Am I going to see something in this that is going to bless me, or am I going to see this as just a huge mess? Owning the attitude of gratitude gives you the power to keep yourself on track, to move forward, to be as normal as we possibly can be, and especially during times when normalcy is just a word in the dictionary. It doesn't even have any sense whatsoever of belonging in your life at that time. So the lady in the studio, oh my goodness, I hit the button for my music. Okay, well, I'm grateful for that because I do enjoy hearing David's music. But the lady in the radio station was talking about how when she looked at her basement and was trying to figure out, holy crow, what am I going to do? Rather than become overwhelmed by the devastation, she started counting her blessings. She started thinking about the things she could be grateful for. And that is how you start it. That's how you own it. Even if what you do, and this is what I did ages ago, I remember Oprah talking about having a gratitude journal. And I thought that was such a cool thing that I went to the store and I bought one of those, engagement calendars. That's what they were called, engagement calendars. And it had enough space to write on, and it was portable. So I would open every day at the end of the day when I got home from work, because I worked a job where I didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. And I wrote 3 things in it that I was grateful for. And I did that for years. In fact, when I relocated from state to state a couple of years ago, I did get rid of them because I had a lot of them. And I don't really regret that, but it was amazing. Before I set them free, put them in the recycling bin, I did, in fact, read through them. This is a great way to start. Just 3 things a day. And if you can't think of 3 things a day, 1. That's it. Everybody can find one thing that they are grateful for. And I'll give you one right now. You're hearing this. You can hear what I'm saying. I'm not going to say you should be grateful for that, but there is something to be grateful for. There are people all over the world with compromised ability to hear. Some people who don't hear. Heck, there are people that aren't even born with ears. Seriously. If you can hear this, there is something to be grateful for. And even if every single day that's the only thing you're grateful for, then God bless you. Because that energy of gratitude, that attitude of gratitude is going to become stronger and stronger within you. So here's another thing you can be grateful for. You can breathe. You can breathe. How cool is that? So there's 2 things right there. I'm going to let you find the third. You can pick it, whatever you want to do, but 3 things you can be grateful for every single day and write them down in something, not because I'm trying to be a taskmaster and, crack the whip and say, do this, but because one day you may need to go back and look at that to remind you of what there is to be grateful for. That's the purpose, the point, and the beauty of those journals. What happened after that? I started sharing that. If you follow me on Facebook, Annette Rochelle Aben, which you're welcome to do, follow me, friend me. I'd love to have you along. I just think that's a cool place to be. Every night before I go to bed, I post 3 things I'm grateful for. Not because I'm trying to be superior or arrogant, but I am so grateful for whatever happens in my life because I have experienced time in my life, personal time in my life, where things that, how can I phrase, my mobility was challenged about 8 years ago. I had a fall in my home. I didn't walk for months. And now my mobility is, I won't say it's compromised, but it's very special. I have a very special way of getting around. So a lot of the things I used to do, and I was hugely active in my life, just are no longer part of my day-to-day. I was so grateful the first time I took another step. I think I cried for hours. And one of the things I wrote about was I was grateful that I stuck my hands under running water for the first time in 3 months. That just brought me to tears, humbled me to the core, because I knew that is a privilege denied to so many, and it had been denied to me for several months. So now when I wash dishes, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the soap. I'm grateful for the water. I'm grateful for the dirty dishes. I'm grateful for the fact that we have dirty dishes, which meant we ate well that day. I've had days where I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. So I'm grateful for the knowledge that when I own that feeling, I have everything. Even if I have nothing, if I have that feeling of gratitude, if I have that from the center of me radiating out, I've got everything. Everything. And that feeling, when you own it, nothing and nobody can take that away from you without your permission. That is personal empowerment. That, strategically, is your armor. It is what you have. You gave it to yourself because you awakened the recognition of it and the knowledge within yourself. You owned it. And it is something that you can be grateful for. And it's something you can teach your children. It's a gift you can give to society. For us to be able to care for ourselves in that way, we are literally taking the burden and the pressure off of the rest of the world, who would then sit there and try to figure out how to help us. They can't. They can't help us. We can help us. When we look at something that we can take away from the end of the day and rest easily at night, again, if you've got at least one thing you can be grateful for, you can sleep like a baby. If you've got two things, you can sleep like a couple babies. And if you've got three things, holy mackerel, you have literally just raised the entire vibration of the world. And I'm not joking. You've raised the entire vibration of the world and sent peace and happiness, love, and harmony out. And if you talk to most people, don't they want to make a difference? Don't they want to be effective in helping the world to be a happier, greater, more joy-filled, peace-filled place? Sure they do. Sure they do. And it starts with owning that attitude of gratitude inside of you. I'm sitting here thumping my chest like you can see that. I keep forgetting, Annette, it's radio. They can't see you doing that. But I'm serious. It's something we all want to do. We all want to think we've left a legacy, that we left the world a little better than when we found it. And the interesting thing is, by you owning your attitude of gratitude and you living that attitude of gratitude and being the creator of your attitude of gratitude, you've done just that. If everybody did that, seriously, if every single person did this, we would be living in nirvana. We'd have the coolest, hip-hoppinest planet in the entire galaxy. So there's your challenge. Own your attitude of gratitude. Create a better world. Love yourself enough to own that attitude of gratitude, and you will show love to the world. And I'm going to show you some love because I'm going to tell you where to find the great and wonderful music of award-winning artist David Martinko. Why? Because you need to know that. It's pretty cool. You can find David Martinko's music at redbellymusic.com and sunshadows.net. You can hear this program by going to blogtalkradio.com/perspectivepower. You can find it on Facebook at facebook.com/perspectivepower. You can share the archive with people, and I hope you do, because I really do think that it's a fabulous show that people will enjoy. You can also find me, Annette Rochelle Aben, all over the social media. I'm about everywhere you can possibly look. YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and if I've forgotten anything, I apologize. But I really do want everybody to remember to take the time to own their attitude of gratitude. Be happy.